The potential of Nvidia is incredible. You may get quite wealthy with this type of stock. The notion that the rise might halt has some resonance since the market is overbought, +5 on the S&P short-range oscillator that I track. The fact that Nvidia has accelerated into the quarter and that the expectations have risen uncontrollably doesn't help. It was terrible to watch the stock undergo such a dramatic turnaround today. What is wrong with this situation that might have only been scratched in a more benevolent market? You mentioned that Nvidia gained 18% last week, but let me offer you some examples to show how difficult this market has become, especially compared to a week ago. Yes, Goldman wondered in a note on Friday if we would have the typical post-Labor Day spike. Did we complete any of that work in August? If so, yes, well, have a look. Someone who is essential to the and a process is attempting to replace David, which is one issue I'm dealing with. He stated, "It's August, and it's as busy as I can recall." I also had a terrific conversation about the transaction with Lisa Su. We'll talk about that later. But this past weekend, we made a joke about my wake-up time. According to my wife, it is 4:30 am. Is it not unbelievable? A quarter before 4 o'clock. I must get ahead of the bad guys. It was evident that Nvidia had lost $1.70. The competitive acquisition of DC by Lisa Su was then disclosed at 6 am. Of course, Nvidia recovered. Nvidia is a peculiarity. As someone who has owned it for my I'm praying it doesn't come in too hot. You want it cold, after having a big week last week. However, some claim that this stock is extremely inexpensive and is its own animal. We'll think it was inexpensive when we look back on it in years. We now think that it begins with the various prices at which Alphabet trades, but this new outlook on businesses, Microsoft in particular, will show how much money they are investing on artificial intelligence. Whether it's operational income, free cash flow, or pure spending, the capex figures are astounding. We have never seen figures like this. Will that then take precedence above anything else? The main question is, will the money invested ever be recouped? At a graphics conference in Denver today, Jensen Huang and Mark Zuckerberg have a fireside talk. Zuckerberg is currently in a quiet phase due to Meta's upcoming report, but he might reveal something encouraging. Recall that Mark and Jensen didn't get along at first, but Mark has since come to see the benefits. It's all about the numbers for Mark, who is a huge ROI man. In addition, the price of Nvidia's stock has ceased increasing and has even somewhat decreased. How can that be reversed? It's unlikely that anyone will claim to be spending less on AI. Which brings us back to our expectations for this week. The total amount spent throughout time, especially by hyperscalers, is $1.4 trillion. Nvidia has been impacted by former President Trump's protectionism attitude. Unbelievably, I even have sources in the PRC. Not directly, however, there are Americans employed there. For instance, consider Taiwan Semi. With new factories in states like Arizona, we are attempting to change the fact that Taiwan Semi produces all of the high-end chips we are discussing. However, those factories won't produce the state-of-the-art processors that Nvidia need right away. Nvidia needs different kinds of processors because they aren't used in automobiles. It's interesting to go back to my original thesis. Nvidia's stock has started to decline. And what makes that different? The findings from this week will tell us. The phrase, "we're going to spend less on AI," is unlikely to be heard. Additionally, the hyperscalers will undoubtedly spend a lot of money. Since we get the finest picture of spending when the godfather of AI, Jensen, speaks, Nvidia's earnings, which are due on August 28, are perhaps the most significant earnings we've seen in 4 or 5 years. Asia's demand is rising, particularly in terms of supply chains and chips. Acceleration is evident if you look at Nvidia, Microsoft, and other companies like ServiceNow. Despite the bears emerging from hibernation over the last 2 weeks, we remain bullish on technology since the street continues to understate demand in comparison to the numbers. So, should we look at the areas that AI is helping, or should we purchase the hyperscalers now? Considering what Nadella has done, take a look at the DI, particularly Microsoft. The main players will be Apple, Nvidia, and Microsoft. It's possible that Nvidia's stock is at a record low, one that won't be seen for years or maybe decades. This is an opportunity that comes only once in a lifetime. leading the way in artificial intelligence (AI), a technology that is transforming sectors including healthcare and transpo. Let's maintain this momentum then. When we discuss AI-powered businesses such as Nvidia, we are discussing a technological revolution never seen before. This business is leading the charge on a trend that will affect every aspect of our lives. Consider this. Applications of AI are growing rapidly, from improving predictive analytics to automating intricate procedures in practically every sector. Not only is Nvidia riding this wave, but it is also contributing to its formation. Now, we cannot overlook the main firms increasing their expenditures in AI when looking at the larger tech scene. For example, Microsoft is doubling down on innovation with its significant capital expenditures on AI technology. The capital expenditure figures alone make it very evident that these businesses are risking everything. Furthermore, this isn't merely a short-term strategy. Given their degree of dedication, it appears they're in it for the long run and understand that AI will propel their next phase of expansion. This change is reflected in Nvidia's growth. This company has maintained its course despite brief market setbacks or fluctuations in share price, particularly when confronted with volatile market reactions. This tenacity, together with Jensen Huang's capable leadership, is exactly what makes Nvidia such an inspiring tale. For good reason, investors view Nvidia as a special opportunity because the company's stock is at the forefront of an industry that is only going to grow. Additionally, don't discount the strategic alliances Nvidia has established with important tech and non-tech companies. The ecosystem that is created by its partnerships with cloud behemoths like Microsoft and Amazon solidifies Nvidia's technology's place in the framework of contemporary digital infrastructure. Nvidia has a long-lasting competitive advantage thanks to this strategy. These are long-term commitments that keep Nvidia at the forefront of the technologies of the future, not merely partnerships. Let's touch on the geopolitical element as well. Nvidia is in a strong position to gain from new factories and infrastructure investments made domestically as the United States and other countries work to separate semiconductors from Asia, especially Taiwan. Although Taiwan Semi still supplies the majority of the top-tier chips, Nvidia will have additional sources thanks to initiatives in Arizona and other places, strengthening its supply chain. Although this change will be slow, it may eventually solidify Nvidia's access to cutting-edge chip production, reducing the danger of worldwide supply interruptions. This is the ideal fantasy for investors. A stock with strong growth potential in a constantly changing industry, together with a clear route to long-term leadership. In many respects, Nvidia is the epitome of contemporary technical innovation, spearheading both product development and the strategic vision that is influencing artificial intelligence going forward. As for Nvidia's next earnings, which are scheduled for August 28, this is probably where we'll see hard evidence of how solid their position is. Investors and analysts will be closely following Jensen Huang's every move. The goal of this earnings conference is to set the tone for future developments in AI and tech investing in general, not merely to discuss the numbers. Anticipate details about Nvidia's roadmap, its strategies for growing AI, and possibly some surprises regarding new collaborations or technological developments. Additionally, consider the stock's long-term trajectory if you're unsure if this is the best time to buy. The AI-driven supercycle is just getting started, and Nvidia is in a unique position to benefit from it. Nvidia is not only a wise investment, but also one that might define a legacy for individuals who are prepared to weather market turbulence. Therefore, give it careful thought if you're undecided. These kinds of opportunities are uncommon, and the AI industry is the future, not just a fad. Imagine knowing that you were a part of a significant turning point in the history of technology when you look back in a few years. Take advantage of this opportunity. Nvidia is more than simply a stock. It's an investment in the technology of the future, and the time is right.